Hi everyone, I am out with the DEUS 2 today on version 1.0. I'm going to be tweaking the Sensi FT setting. I've done a little play around with the general. I got that to where I could get it as best I can. But Sensi FT is the setting that I like to use the most. So today down here, I've got this test area. I've already checked it out and there's nothing here. So we're gonna dig a little hole about 6 inches down. I'm gonna bury a few things individually. I'm gonna start with a hammered coin. I'm gonna see what we can get out of this machine the best we can at 6 inches. I do 6 inches because that's kind of like an average, and then we'll try and see if we can go a bit deeper. But for now, we're just gonna mess around with it, see what we can do, get the sound as good as possible in Sensi FT. Right, let's carry on. Okay, so I've got Edward I silver penny, and that's going to go in the ground at 6 inches. I've measured it. It's going to kind of lay as flat as possible. I'm just going to fill this hole back in soil, push it down, put the plug back in. Cover it up, label it up. So from turning on the machine, if you're in program 1, general, you just move using the plus button past Sensi to sensitive full tones. That's what the FT stands for. So we're going to be in this setting at the moment. We've got discrimination 6.8, sensitivity is at 90, frequency is at 40 kilohertz, line volume is at 7, reactivity is 3, audio response is 4. We're back to this, we're on full tones, and then if we break up into these full tones, we've got a tone break of 6.8 on the first one with a volume of 7. Number 2, got a tone break of 35 with a volume of 10. 3 is 50 with a volume of 10 again. 4, 72 with a volume of 10. And the last one is empty with just a volume, because it's just opened up from 72 to the end really. So yeah, it's still got a volume of 10. So we're gonna mess with some bits first, then we'll get into changing that to get the sounds right. Right, I'll talk you through it as I'm doing it. Right, so in this mode, just move the tape measure out of the way. It's reading 68. You can kind of hear it. It's like whispering away. There's a bit of iron over here, so I just wanted to hear that. Okay, so first of all, I'll go into sensitivity. I'm going to crank that up to 97. There you go. There's the iron still. It still sounds, considering it's a full hammered coin, it's 6 inches deep, I expect it to like pop out a bit more than that. That's kind of just like a, oh, there's kind of something there. If you push the scan button on the frequency shift, it will scan to like the best setting for your surroundings where you are. It's put mine at 3. So if I drop this down to 14 and do a frequency scan again, so now it's saying 6 for that frequency. And it does sound a bit better. So every time you change frequency, you're going to have to scan, because it's scanning between that frequency, like around 14 kilohertz, like around 24, around 40. It's not scanning everything and then you can just switch between the 3. You literally, every time you change frequency, you're going to have to scan it. So just bear that in mind. Reactivity. So on a reactivity, is how fast it reacts between like two signals. Like if you've got signals close to each other, it's how fast you swing the coil. So at the minute for this hammered coin, I'm having to go quite slow over it for it to sound big. Whereas if I do that, it sounds quite tiny. So if I change this reactivity and slow it down even more, it brings out the signal more because it's kind of slowed down where it reads it. It doesn't just blip, but it means separation becomes less, as in if you've got two targets close to each other, it's not going to identify them as easy. I mean, it will still break them down, but see the iron's better now. That's at 1.5. This is at 1. Put it on 0. And if we go the other way, this is at 4. See, it starts to be even harder to identify it. 5, it's literally a zip, and that's it. So I mean, 2 because there is a target. I knew there was a target there because I saw it earlier when I was looking for a spot in the ground. So that's 2.5. This is 3. And this is 1.5. 2 to 2.5. That's the reactivity. Audio response. Now, this is how much it comes out of the ground. So it's for depth. So if you had a target that was deep, and you had a target, so like, if you're digging on like pasture, and it doesn't matter because you're going to dig everything. You don't care whether it's up or down. It's going to be rolled around. So yeah, in the UK, really, audio response. You get things that are 1,000, 2,000 years old, and they're literally on the surface just as much as they could be really deep. And I don't want to be hearing stuff that's like a whisper really deep. So I crank the audio response up to 6. If you go 7, it's just going to max it out, and you're really not going to tell any difference. Whereas 6 is like the difference between 6 and 7. It gives you some kind of change. But if you listen to this now, you see everything is louder. But that, because it's a sweeter sound, it's a better signal anyway. It's a better ferrous, a better non-ferrous item. It just, if I put it on the large VDU, I'll tell you. So the ferrous is 68 signal on this hammered coin, and the ferrous is about 20% on non-ferrous, which is the graph on the right-hand side for the non-ferrous in the horseshoe. So if I show you that quickly, this is the non-ferrous, this little square in there, and when you're on the large targets, it will come up looking like that. So yeah, you want to keep an eye on it. It's only necessary to keep looking at it if you hit a sweet signal, and you just to double check, you just like, oh yeah, it's definitely ferrous. It's definitely, I don't know why I keep saying ferrous. It's definitely non-ferrous. But yeah, that's it's getting better. Now I'm going to show you. Sorry about the wind. Now we're going to change the sound, so the frequency of the headphones, or what you hear through the headphones or the control unit, you can change those frequencies, so you can step them up or down to suit you, what sounds best for your ears, because everyone's got a different sort of hearing spectrum. So you might hear low tones down to a certain point, whereas someone younger can hear a lot lower and a lot higher. So you just want to move it to what suits you. Okay, so starting in the menu, and when you go to the discrimination, so you go into your menu, discrimination, and you go to expert, you've got a offset FT. Now, this will be set to like 5 or 6, I can't remember. But if you listen to the tone, as you change it, so it's at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I'll step it down to 10. You see that? Now this middle tone, this tone that sounded the same, now sounds lower. And this is even sweeter. Orion's still Orion. Yeah, silence, so I'm putting on 0. Full tones. Right, this is where we're going to change the frequency. So this hammered coin, let's just look at the target ID again. 87. So like 60 to 80. Right, so I've moved the tone break to 50 to 75, just because now that's there's a lot more separation between these two targets. Right, this is the iron. So if I move across to our tone 1, and this has got a tone break of 6.8, I'm going to actually move that to 8. I'm just seeing what effect it has on everything else, moving the first tone break. It does start affecting it once you go up past 8. It's weird. Alright, so I have a tone break of 8. There we go. Okay. Oh, I like that. Okay, bottle caps off. Just want to see if we go on this notch. Let's change this notch. 0. It's kind of sped things up, because when you're notching stuff, the process is having to work harder, it's having to do more, because you're asking it to look at stuff and change things more. So when you take notch off, I mean, fine, if you've got a lot of stuff that's annoying you, just find out what it is and you can tweak it and be like, oh, there's loads of this foil everywhere and I keep digging it. You can either get used to the numbers, which is what you'd normally do, or you can notch it out. But notching it out slows down a little bit of the response. But yeah, I can take this up now. I've got it like a foot off the ground. So we're going to bury this now 10 inches, and we're going to see what the difference is. It's now 10 inches down. Is it going to get it? Yes, it is. So it changes the way the iron sounds with each frequency. But yeah, I'm liking the 24. We'll see what the 24 does on other targets, because bearing in mind this is just silver. Right, I'm just going to quickly go through my settings with you. So how I've got it set up at the minute is audio response is on 5, discrimination 6.5. If you go into expert, we're on full tones. And then these are the tone breaks, so 6.5 with a volume of 6, 22 with a volume of 10, 52 with a volume of 4, 80 with a volume of 10, and then the last one a volume of 7. Then if we go back out of this, we've got offset full tones at 5, that's the pitch, bottle caps at 0, no notch, turn the silencer off, and that's that. Sensitivity I've got at 98, literally depends where you are, whether you're getting interference, if you need to whack it down or anything like that, due to the mineralization in the soil. Frequency, I don't know why, but for the silvers, kind of 24 kilohertz seems to hit stuff sweeter than the other frequencies. I'm not sure whether that's just this land or what, but it seems to work okay. Iron volume, I stuck it up to 6 in the end because I wanna hear it, because sometimes if you got iron that's hitting with high tones on it, you kind of want to know when the iron stops and when the high tones kick in. If it's like iron straight into a high tone right at the end and it's quite a short blip, it's normally just where the iron's dense. But you can dig it up, because sometimes you can find artifacts like that. I've had Roman brooches like that where they give off iron and then a nice sweet signal right on the end of it. Right, reactivity, got that on 2.5. I seem to find that's the sweet spot for reactivity on this machine on coil. That's 11 inches. Back to audio response 5. And that is that. So on here, if I go into my audio, so on my audio filter, I've got that on 0. My equalizer, if you want to see this, so I've got that 150 minus 3 dB, and the next one plus 6, next one's plus 3, and the final one I've got on minus 6. It just suits me. Don't know whether it suits everyone's, but I've moved them all about, and yeah, it seems quite nice. My audio type is on PWM. I've tried everything else. I mean, I've been through different machines, and I don't know, square tones is okay, but then when you're going around a busy site, it becomes slightly overwhelming for me. But if it's on a quieter site where there's fewer signals, fewer bits of trash, then I would probably change that to a square or the new high square tone. But yeah, for this, I'm going to leave it on that. And that's it. Solo full tones. That's where you want to save it to one of your settings. Right, I'm going to try a few different targets now just to see if it holds up with these settings that I've put in, that I've showed you. We're going to try it on some other stuff just to see what the difference is. Right, so next target I'm going to use is this Victorian rose gold ring, just to see how the coil acts with a ring in the ground. I'm going to put it 6 inches again, just start off at 6, and we'll see how it reacts to this. Right, so Solo FT with a Victorian gold ring. Let me just make it so you can hear it. There you go. Not bad. It's coming up 54, about 25% non-ferrous. There's our iron and rubbish signal, good tone. So slightly lower in the tones with that gold. But she passed. Right, let's try a new target. Right, next target, I'm going to try this buckle. See how that fares up. Right, so we've got the buckle in the ground. You'll notice there's a different tone sound now because it's going into the 80s. The way I've changed everything, it makes it sound like it steps up, but it's quieter. The reason I've done that is because a lot of times when you hit things like copper pennies and that, they come like banging out the ground, they're in the 80s. they're like too loud, and I kind of want to tone that down, but know that it's a good signal, but at the same time know that it's probably not a deep like hammered coin or gold. So like, this is a 70, and this is the buckle. 6 inches down, it's about 45% non-ferrous, and we've got numbers of 85, 86. But I can definitely tell the difference and be like, oh yeah, that's totally different to what that is. Yeah, I like it. Right, let's try another one. Right, so we're going to go with one of these commonish type for us in the UK, Victoria penny, copper penny. It's quite a big, quite a nice coin. So let's put that in the ground, see what it sounds like. Okay, Victoria penny against, see, very similar to the buckle because same kind of metal. It's a thick copper alloy. 85, it's about 30% non-ferrous, 6 inches deep. But it definitely stands out differently to the other signals, so yeah, again, very happy with that. Right, next target, I'm going to go with a military button. It's kind of like Civil War type era button. So we're going to see what that sounds. It's slightly smaller, slightly more hollow, not as dense, but we'll see what it sounds like. Yeah, buttons in general do like to jump out of the ground. I don't know why they're at that right kind of size. Most coils just love them. Right, let's try something else. All right, now I'm going to try like a medieval lead farming token. This should be pretty sweet. $72. Sort of 70, 72. The non-ferrous is kind of about 10% as the level goes up. So it's kind of weak, a bit like a silver hammer coin. Actually, it only just kind of registers when it's thin in the non-ferrous section, but it does get into that bracket. And the lead token is very similar, slightly higher number, very similar. Next, we're going to try a gold quarter stator at 6 inches. I've struggled to get this thing to go off on other settings like the general, so we'll see how the machine holds up with the Sensi FT. Right, gold quarter stator. Yeah, as I thought. I mean, barely getting it, like, which is crazy when you think about it, because it's quite a pure gold. It registers, but it's so quiet. Yeah, that's why I've got a setting for that. I'll show you that in a later video, but yeah, gold, like small gold bits, you basically have to use a different frequency, a different setting, and bring it right out the ground. Right, I'm going to do a crotal bell next. This should be quite a banging target. They normally are, so I don't expect anything else. Finally, the crotal bell. Very sweet target. Up in the 80s, 85, 86. Again, it's about 40% non-ferrous. You're not going to miss that. Right, so hopefully that's given you guys a better understanding of Sensi FT, the settings in full tones, how to change them, and more importantly, gives you settings that I've messed around with. You can change them about yourself. You can give this one a try, what I've got set up today. I will be trying this myself actually next time I go out in a few days. So yeah, I hope you like this video. I will do, like I say, I'll do more testing in different modes on this machine. This is my favorite, Sensi FT. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.